The Amazon is known as the lungs of our planet, and rightly so, as it is the world's largest intact forest spread over an area of hundreds of millions of hectares. The Amazon is home to more than 10% of all identified plant and animal species. And its largest chunk, nearly 60% of the total forest, lies in Brazil. The Amazon is home to more than 24 million people in Brazil alone. On a typical day, the trees of the rainforest release 20 billion tons of moisture into the atmosphere, seeding the clouds with rain. The Amazon's hydrological cycle maintains the breadbasket of South America, providing critical moisture for agriculture and urban water reserves in central Brazil. In fact, studies have found that this moisture cycle regulates rainfall patterns as far as the Midwest in the United States. Unfortunately, the Brazilian Amazon has lost more than 18% of its rainforest in the last 40 years. Despite the creation of protected areas in recent decades, most of the remaining forest is under threat. And former Brazilian President Bolsonaro's role in this loss has been documented heavily. Deforestation spiked in the Brazilian Amazon under Bolsonaro's anti-environmental agenda. This not only threatened the biodiversity of the rainforest, but the lives of indigenous communities as well, not to forget its impact on the climate globally. But the recent change in Brazil's leadership has brought a new era of hope for the Amazon. After winning the election, Lula da Silva has vowed to monitor the Amazon, keeping a sharp eye on illegal mining, deforestation, or land clearing for agriculture. His government also aims to promote sustainable development of the communities who live in the forest. Lula's policy diverged from those promoted by Bolsonaro, during whose reign the Amazon experienced the worst deforestation in 15 years. And now the future of the Brazilian rainforest hangs by a thread, as Brazil hopes for the president-elect to live up to his promises.
We're going to reinstitute vigilant monitoring of the Amazon and fight against any illegal mining of minerals, lumber extraction or land clearing for agriculture. At the same time, we are going to promote sustainable development in communities of the Amazon. We are going to prove once again it's possible to generate wealth without destroying the environment.
Obrigado.
And to put this victory into context, we are now being joined by Erik Solheim, who is the former executive director of the UN Environment Programme. Thanks for joining us. My first question for you now, Lula's victory has been in fact hailed as a victory for the Amazon. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. This is probably the best news for the environment anywhere in the world in the year 2022. Lula has a very, very impressive track record when it comes to bringing down deforestation in the Amazon. When he came in as a president in 2002, he put in place a process which reduced deforestation with 80%. It was unprecedented before that, and unfortunately, Bolsonaro has destroyed some of these gains, but I'm sure Lula will bring this back on track.
Right. We've had experts say huge comments like, during the past 4 years, the Amazon has been threatened, attacked and destroyed as the government openly promoted environmental crimes, naturally alluding to the Bolsonaro government. How will Lula's governance mark a sharp contrast to all of this?
He will, first of all, work very closely with the many indigenous groups which are living in the Amazon. They are, of course, the best protector of the forest because they are on the ground. There are limits to how much you can send police or army or someone from outside to protect the forest, but indigenous communities are there, and Lula will work very closely with them. And secondly, of course, he will put in place a stop in illegal mining, illegal land clearing, illegal logging, and use the strength of the state for that to happen. But maybe as important as all this, he will prioritize the livelihood of the 25 million people living in Amazon. There are lots of people living there, and they need to get started on alternative businesses, tourism, agriculture in already destroyed areas, etc.
Right. Just a final question there. One of his more ambitious proposals, from what reports are suggesting, is the subsidization of sustainable farming. How realistic do you think this is, and will he be able to attain this?
I'm fairly optimistic that he will be able to achieve quite a lot of this, because the reason why Bolsonaro has been so popular among many people in Brazil is not that he was anti-environment. He got his strength from anti-corruption, from law and order, and from other areas. The protection of the Amazon is high on the agenda for most Brazilians. There is broad support, and if Lula can give incentives to greener farming, a green way of using the resources which are there in the Amazon, he will have a lot of support. And the international community, of course, should do its best to support this process because it's so important, not just for Brazil, but from the entire world.
Right. Thank you so much for all those insights, and thanks for joining us on the broadcast.
Thank you.
WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.